All right, good.
Yeah, we're like the Mike Tyson of money.
We didn't have to bite anyone's ear off.
No.
Totally
we won't
cool.
bite your ear off.
No.
We won't go against your free will, ever.
Never.
The Battle of Money, part 2.
So what's part 2 here? Warm me up for it.
So let's recap real quick in case somebody's just hopping into this. Most important that we learned on part 1 is information is what drives markets.
Yep.
Liquidity, we have to understand, works 24/7. The markets close.
Yeah.
Which I never understood that, why the New York Stock Exchange would close. Why wouldn't it be going 24/7? I don't.
Because you need an advantage to collect information before the trading opens up again. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind. You need to give yourself...
Yeah, you can't be 24/7.
You got to give yourself a buffer to collect.
No matter, the greatest hedge fund manager can't stay up 24/7. You have to sleep.
Nope.
So with liquidity, we have to understand, maybe we can get the definition of liquidity so people understand it, but it's a diamond. It has many facets. Ooh. When you look at charts on liquidity, you can't sit there and say, oh, okay, this is the reason that the interest rate's going up with this. This is compared to the US dollar. This is the reason this asset is worth this value, and the real estate's doing this. And, there's many facets as a diamond. So why don't you get into that before we get into the...
So liquidity describes the degree to which an asset or security can be quickly bought or sold in the market without affecting the asset's price. Okay. Tartle, information, the liquidity of data is instantaneous. Just like that, bang, done. Oh my gosh, I just bought information that quick. You bet you did. You bought it at market price, done, bang, done. That's it.
Well, that's what a perfect free market does. But when you're looking at the diamond facet of liquidity, when we see whether it's the Federal Reserve getting involved or it's or the printing of money, then it becomes, you got to look at concentration.
Well, then I'll explain this then. Let's give a metaphor because this helped. Liquidity was the first thing you think of, water. What happens when you begin to dam things up? It pools. And then somebody controls the flow rate of that asset that comes out of it, which is the water itself.
Right.
So if you put these regulations in place or somebody that, alters the supply of how much of that water can come out, it changes the liquidity. It changes the volatility. It essentially statistically normalizes it. So the liquidity is actually false. You think it's a very liquid market. It's not. It's only injected at a point to help stabilize the liquidity when it's become so inorganic.
Well, you can see that. I mean, let's look at the market of supply chains right now, because there's liquidity in the supply chain.
I got to tell you, when I went into Target the other day, everything's sold out.
Yes.
And they are not going to be able to keep up. And here's what's going to happen. People are going to buy everything. And stores will be empty for a long time because the supply chains are completely sapped and they're already so far behind.
Well, they were showing pictures just in LA of how many are just waiting. Crates and stuff are just waiting there. It's so backed up.
Oh, no.
Barges are just waiting. And how much is that? Every minute that cost?
It's called the cost to carry.
But we can look at it just in the United States alone. Here we are paying truck drivers to sit at home. Here we are giving, millions and millions of dollars to companies during COVID.
Yep.
And then everything kind of had a pause button on it.
Yeah. You stopped the liquidity.
You stopped that 24/7.
Do people still need to drink water? Yeah. So what happens if you shut it off for a day? Whoa, I'm still thirsty.
Yes.
It's going to take a long time for that to normalize, where I can get my water intake back up.
Well, what happens whenever you tell somebody ahead of time that you're going to shut the water off?
Oh, I'm going to buy more. That's
what happens, like the toilet paper, the funny thing.
Well, yeah, it's just...
Everybody bought... You couldn't find any toilet paper.
It's a reaction of fear.
Yes.
So let's talk about the Tartle marketplace in aspect of that. You're not going to shut off information. More information gets created every single day.
Right.
It's not a function of scarcity. It's a time value of it. So if it's variable data that's changing all the time and you want to know what's going to happen tomorrow, well, just wait for it. It'll show up. There's no limitation on it. There's no reason to act in fear of this market because everybody can participate within it.
Right.
It's not a limited resource. It's essentially unlimited. And the value of which you pay is for the depth and granularity and how quickly and how up-to-date that information is.
And Tartle's core values, and I think this is really important, is freedom and economic enterprise. And freedom to be able to have an open market where people can make the decisions across the globe.
Correct. And those individuals are their own economic enterprises. Every single participant is their own business because the work they put in generates an asset which they then drive annuities off of far into the future.
Because what people don't realize, all money is a social construct.
It's just because all of us are like, yeah, I'll trade that for that value.
That's all it is. If you look down through the centuries, we've decided gold is valuable. We decided glass beads were valuable.
Salt was
valuable. We
valuable.
decided salt. Yeah, people go to war and risk their lives for salt.
Do you know that kings used to fight over diorite, a form of granite?
Yes.
Like speckled granite, because they thought it had mystical powers?
So if money is a social construct, now we begin to have a different view of what money is. And now we can understand the true battle of money. Because this is a fear of like Bitcoin or Turtle Marketplace. This will be, as Turtle becomes, as we keep growing and at the rapid rate that we're growing, we're going to see, governments across the globe are going to look at us and say, they're going to begin to fear it.
Yeah,
they're going to fear this free market.
Yeah, they're not going to like the fact that everyone accessed information. If, say, there is a crime that is occurring in the country,
right?
That's going to be open information. There's no hide. You can't hide that stuff anymore.
So if money is a social construct, and especially here in the United States, well, I think all over the world,
everywhere it is,
we leave money. We're leaving this social construct to central bankers.
We let them define the value of the construct.
This is not freedom.
No. Because you had no say, no choice in how you were supposed to be defining it. Central banks are not society. They are just gatekeepers or people that they are the dam.
The problem is it reflects society's worth. So a central banker gets to make the decision
about what society's worth.
For what your society is worth, whether you're in Nigeria, you're in Australia, you're in the UK, or you're here in Albuquerque.
And then look at Turtle. Let's invert that model. You decide how much your information's worth.
Right.
Your own decision on what that value is. No one else is going to tell you.
That's my next line, bro.
You get to decide.
Society has to confirm value.
Society confirms the value.
In the Turtle Marketplace, society, every human being,
every single one,
228 or how many countries there are, determines the value.
They do that through their choice, under their consent, for every single data packet sold and transacted every single second on Turtle.
And we have no printing. We don't get the printers going 24/7 to print more money. We don't have that.
That's because information, the data, is the fundamental support.
Yes.
And then that person decides that value to them. And then people can only come in with money. So if a central bank is saying, oh, we're going to change the value of money, okay, well, then you just have to give me more for my data.
Right.
Because people are defining the value of their work rather than having their work's value being defined for them. Just because I put more hours in and a central banker decides to print more money, that means it takes me more time, more labor to feed my family.
So if money reflects society's worth, society confirms that value.
Correct.
Then we have to look at the main the heartbeat of it all that circulates. That is one word called trust.
Oh, trust.
When we just made $1 trillion bill. What was it, last week or the week before last?
Really?
We just did $1 trillion bill of infrastructure and stuff like that. It's going to cost us $1 trillion. Government here in the United States just made this bill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, is it not a coincidence? Here's trust. Think about this. If we use a social construct and we use trust.
Okay.
Is it not a coincidence when this bill said, okay, we're going more into debt. Now we're going to go $1 trillion into debt. That Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Who is the young generation not trusting?
They don't trust the government. It's showing you that their value is inversely, like, it's inverse to the choices that are making over here.
Yes.
So as they essentially decrease the value of money, we say, okay, we're going to increase the value of what we think is valuable.
Because here's the question. Who do we trust?
We trust ourselves. We do not trust the government.
Yes.
So, and I'm not trying to create a problem here. I'm not saying like we need to open up a new government or anything like that. I'm just stating that people want choice. And when you devalue their work, they will find the path of least resistance. They will go to better options. Well, do you know what trust means? When you drive a car, you trust that an individual is not going to drive over the double yellow and head on you. You trust that people pay attention to the lights. When I walk around in a public setting, I trust I'm not going to get stabbed or shot.
Yes.
I trust that we're all going to work amicably together to evolve.
But what if the city all of a sudden every night in the middle of the night begins to change the lanes?
Or what happens if the city comes out and says, you don't have to worry about trust. We'll manage it for you. When people are like, screw it, I'll do whatever I want. Because when the city's not there to manage me, then I'm going to start breaking the rules.
And so the institutional monetary system, there's no trust.
No, it doesn't.
Not now.
No, there's no trust. But
So
here's
what are they asking? No, this is very important.
I'm going to throw something.
You're going to love this.
I'm jacked up.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
What are they asking us to do?
Trust them.
To have faith.
Yeah.
They're asking us to have faith in the dollar, but we need to trust them, not have faith.
Oh, right.
You see what I'm saying?
When someone tells you to have faith in the dollar, that's saying you don't have all the facts, let
Yes.
them control it for you, and you just go about your day. Trust means they are open with their decision making. They ask you to be involved in it.
Right.
There's reciprocity of the relationship, and there's agreed upon value amongst all of us.
Because you know what this scenario with faith is on this?
Tell me.
Faith is shared fiction.
It is shared fiction. The central bank has made a religion out of their economics.
Yes.
And when you do that, you disproportionately put people in boxes.
Yes.
You define a world in a way that is unreal. And when we have things like that, people are like, this isn't real. They see through it and they're like, we got to go find a better way to do things.
Because the 1% can't determine the values of society.
No, and they shouldn't determine the values of society.
That's why Tartle's Marketplace is needed more than ever.
Why? Because people need to decide the value for themselves. They need to come together as a collective. They have to trust that their fellow man or brethren will come together with them to join the marketplace and start to determine that value.